integrity, humility, hard work, and a can-do attitude. These are the values that were instilled in me by my parents when I was a child. These are the characteristics of Maine workers who made Maine an industrial powerhouse during the 20th century. And these are the traits that I see in the eyes of Thomas students, in the minds of the faculty and staff who serve them, and in the hearts of the parents who support them on their journey. And it's these attributes that gave me the courage and the strength to take on this role as a college president. Not just at any college, but at this very special college. You see, I've grown to believe over the years that it's our past that shapes us into who we are. It's time in our families, it's the communities we grow up in, it's the job and life experiences that make us the unique and special people that we are. Each with our own dreams, with our own possibilities, with our own passions, and with our own purpose in this life. I grew up in a really small central Maine town of Dover-Foxcroft. I was the youngest of 3 girls, and we grew up in a tiny house on a 1/4-acre corner lot. Our world was an interesting one. It was a fun one. Our block only had 4 houses on it, but there was a lot of land. We had a big yard where we could play pickup baseball games. We had a big vegetable garden up on the hill where we grew vegetables every summer and pumpkins that we harvested in the fall. And there was a wooded knoll up on a bluff that looked down over the Piscataquis River and a cavernous, huge brick mill that had once been a woolen mill. We didn't have a lot in our life. We lived in a small universe. But to us, it was huge. It was our universe. And we ran free with kids all around the neighborhood. We didn't have much, but we didn't need much. Across the road, there was a big hill. We tobogganed down. We ice skated around the old barn. We rode our bikes up and down that little side street. It was our world. And we played up in that wooded knoll, looking down over the river. We'd look at that mill in our magical way, and we'd wonder, what goes on down there? We'd wonder if we'd see river rats. It was very exciting, and it was a little scary what we could observe. Down in a part of that mill, when I was in elementary school, they started up a tannery. And I remember that the 18-wheelers would come across the bridge, and they couldn't make that 90-degree turn to go to the tannery. So these big trucks came a little further up the hill, and they went around the corner where my house was, and those big back wheels cut across my yard. What this meant for me as a kid was I could never have a pet, because my mother said a pet wouldn't last a week with those trucks going around the corner. And that was true. There's other things I remember about that tannery. When it was a foggy night, if someone came in the house and the door opened, the stench of that tannery was so overwhelming, you could barely stand it. And I grew to understand and believe that odor of that mill and the other mills around the state, that was the smell of money. That's the price you had to pay, along with a polluted river, the price you paid to have jobs in your town. Now downtown, near the other bridge, were 2 other huge buildings. One was Moosehead Manufacturing, and one was Hathaway Shirt. Big, big cavernous buildings that by the time I graduated from college were closed. And it wasn't just Dover. Heck, a little to our west was Guilford Woolen, and Pride Manufacturing, where they made 3/4 of the world's wooden golf tees. A little to the south was Dexter Shoe, and a few miles to the northeast, Great Northern Paper Company. And today, most of those are gone. I grew up in the 60s and the 70s. And at that time, most of those mills were still open. And our town was really pretty prosperous. We had stores and shops and restaurants downtown. The main street was busy. People were making a pretty good living. In fact, classmates of mine could graduate from high school and step right into a good mill job. And with a union wage scale and with benefits, they were promised a life with some promotion, with opportunity, and they could take care of their families, and they could have a good life for themselves, doing very honorable work. So with all that relative opportunity and prosperity, it was always fascinating for me to think, why were my parents so focused on the 3 of us girls going to college? Why was that so important? And I'll never forget growing up, as the youngest, I thought everything that had to do with money was pretty fascinating. And my mother had a metal box, about the size of a kid's lunchbox, with a little padlock on it. It was in her desk drawer. And I used to love to watch her when she would pay the bills and do the budgeting. And inside that box, there were 9 little tins, and each of them had labels. One said mortgage, one said oil, food, clothes, church. Church always got its fair share. And one said college. Now, there were times when my parents did not have much money, especially when I was 5 years old and my dad got sick and was in the hospital for a while. And yet, every time my mother did the budgeting, she would take at least a quarter, and put it in the box marked college, because that was the future of her girls. What did my parents know at that time that some people today don't even realize about how critical a college degree is? What did they know? My parents sacrificed for my education, and I realized how deep that sacrifice was between my sophomore and junior year of college. I was working at the local bank as a teller, and the phone rang. It was my mother. My mother was a very calm woman, but she was distressed. The bill had just come in for my junior year at Bowdoin College, and it had risen. It was $10,000. And that was exactly what my parents had paid for our small house. She couldn't imagine it. After growing up in a mill town, I entered the work world, and my first 3 jobs were all as an economist. I had the chance to forecast and analyze Maine's economy from every angle. And in my various experiences, I had the chance to go to virtually every community in Maine. I had a chance to tour every major manufacturing facility of all kinds of products. And I had the opportunity to study every form of economic development. What could we do to help our state grow? And over those years, I saw firsthand what happened when a mill closed in a community. And I saw and witnessed the fear and desperation in legislators as they came into Augusta and they put forward a bill or an economic development incentive or a program that could help breathe life back into their community that seemed to be dying. And I saw parents who were filled with pain and fear. They were disillusioned by the economy, and they were scared that their children would not be able to live and work in Maine. And through all those experiences in all those 29 years, I grew to have such a deep love for this state and for my hometown. And I had found my passion, and I felt like I had found my purpose in life. And my passion was to do something, anything, to help the state that I love to grow. And to give young people the chance that if they wanted to, if that's what they chose to, that they could choose to stay and live and work in Maine. That's why, in July of 2012, when I became the president of Thomas College, I felt like I had found my place in this world. I had found a place where I could make a difference. You see, Thomas College is a place of hope and opportunity. 2/3 of our students are the first generation in their family to go to college, just like me. Most of our students come from humble roots, many of them from rural communities, just like me. And many of their parents were disillusioned by the economy, scared about the future, and absolutely overwhelmed at the thought of how they would pay for college, just like my parents. I was home. Integrity, humility, hard work, and a can-do attitude. In the industrial economy, that was enough. That was enough to do what you wanted to do in life and to have a good life. But in a knowledge-based, technology-driven global economy, while those things are foundational to a career, you gotta have them for success. It's not enough anymore to ensure that you can take care of yourself and your family and have a good, fulfilling life. It's just not enough. You need other things like knowledge and skills and innovative capacity to drive you. You need some form of post-secondary education, certification, 2-year degree, 4-year degree, whatever it is. You need to have that, to have this ability to grow and live and thrive. Many people have said to me, I can't afford to go to college. But I'd say to you, you can't afford not to. My father had one major job in his career. I'm on my 4th major job. But people who are graduating now, they estimate you'll have 10 jobs before you're 40 years old, 12 to 15 in your lifetime. How do you begin to prepare for that kind of change? Well, at Thomas College, we know how to prepare you. We know we've got to prepare the whole of you. At Thomas, our commitment to you is to help you find out who you are. What's special about you? What's your passion? What's your purpose in this world? That's why we give you opportunities to do things like the Leadership Academy, to join clubs, to play on teams, to do community service. And once you explore those different aspects of you, we give you a co-curricular transcript that you can put right beside your academic transcript. So when you apply for a job, they know the whole of you. It makes you stand out. They'll know what's special about you. At Thomas College, we guarantee you'll have the knowledge you need to land that job in your field and to launch a career. That's why all of our majors are relevant in today's workplace. So when you graduate with any major, you're going to have opportunities. And then while you're here, we're going to surround you with opportunities for career and professional development, developing the whole part of you. It's our job also to give you the skills you need. In this world, this crazy competitive world, you got to be able to communicate. That's why we make sure you take written communications and public speaking. We're going to give you those opportunities and those skills and give you a chance to hone them. And we're going to encourage you to have an internship because that's your test run. That's where you get to find out, what's it like out there? Do I like it? Is that what I want to do? Do they like me? Do I fit in? Ooh, better change that. Whatever it takes. At Thomas College, our hope is that you'll release the creativity inside yourself. You'll unleash it to help innovate at each stage in your life. Maybe through our Center for Innovation and Education, maybe through the Harold Alfond Institute for Business Innovation, whatever it takes. But at Thomas, our dream for you is that you'll have the courage to pursue your own passions, that you'll have the knowledge and skills to land that job that you want and launch that career, and that you'll have the freedom to choose where you want to live, where you want to work, where you want to pursue your own dreams. My parents gave me a great gift. They gave me an education that's allowed me to do what I want to do in my life, to follow my dreams, to find my purpose, and to live right where I want to live. My dream for you is to find where you want to be, and I can't wait to see what you'll do with your Thomas education. Thank you.